do a CMA, all right, and how I look and determine the value of a property. There are lots of ways to do CMAs. Most of you, I've asked you to take the CMA class at the board level, okay? And a lot of times I want you to do that before I teach you what I'm going to teach you, because that'll help strengthen what we talk about today. So today's really a hands-on kind of class. You kind of have to practice doing what I'm going to show you guys to do. So I'm going to pick a listing that I have already to just give you an idea of how you come up with some kind of marketing ideas. So the property that I'm going to talk about today is Glen Oak. All right, now Glen Oak is a property that was purchased once before and got fixed up and then was being resold. And so how do you justify that higher price in today's marketplace, okay? And that's also the same thing you're going to want to do for any individual owner, is get them the highest and best price, all right, with the least amount of hassle. That's why you're hired as an agent to sell someone's property, all right, is to get them the highest, best price, sell it in a timely manner, okay? So here's the property. The first thing that I would want to do on any property, I may not have an MLS printout to go by, okay? So I might have to come and take a peek of the history of the property. All right, so you know, you might get in and check out what the property history kind of looked like prior to that. And you can see here the property originally was listed at 154 all the way to 147 range, and there was nothing previous before that, okay? So the next thing I want to do is come in here and I want to look at the tax record. Now, tax records can be looked at by either the IMAP record or you can look at the real list. I like to look at the IMAP record, okay? And I'm going to open it up in a new tab. All right, so now I can see the property, and I can also see that it's 80 by 100. That's going to be important, because when I'm looking at other lots, I want to look at other lots that are 80 by 100, because lot value would change. Like here, this lot is 100 by 100. Like if I'm dealing in certain areas, that might change the value anywhere from $5,000 to $30,000 because it's a bigger lot. So I want to pay attention to the lots I have here. This is what's called the big map. When you're looking at IMAP, you can change between the large map and the small map right here. And here's the small map. And it brings up the information right here. So the first thing I do when I'm doing the CMA is I print this out as a PDF. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and save this as a PDF. Because I'm going to need to refer to it from time to time, okay? And we'll just put it right into my listing folder here. All right. Give it a name, so I know what it is. All right. So now I have that. And the important things that I want to look at when I'm looking at the tax record is I'm trying to identify what the property is. All right, so it's a single. So I'm going to come all the way down to the builder information, and now I'm going to see that it's a single-family home. The living square footage right here is 961 square feet. Okay, and then the tax record is 960. Is the age? Is showing me 1960. Now this number right here says it's effective age. So they're saying that the house is actually only showing its age of 1970. And that's according to the county, all right? And then we have 4 rooms, we have 2 bedrooms, we have 1 bath, and then we have a total square foot of 1,263 square feet. Now then we can see how the square footage actually is broken down in the home according to the county. You can look here and see that there's an enclosed porch of 70 square feet. There's a patio in the back somewhere of 32 square feet. Here's your carport, all right, and then the main living area. And that also matches this square footage, all right? And then they sometimes the square footage in the carport garage area. All right, so from here, there's a couple things too inside IMAP. There's a thing called comparable properties. So one of the things I can do here with comparable properties is this is going to do use an algorithm to figure out what other properties within this area may have sold for. Now you'll notice this is US 41, all right? And then it picked up some properties over here. This is a different neighborhood, okay? And this is the same thing that Zillow does to try to figure out what the value of your property is. And you can see if nobody corrected the computer with human eyes, then it's always going to err on the side of its algorithm. And so when we look here, I can see I got a lot of properties over here that don't belong. So I would probably really to make this really accurate, okay, I should eliminate the ones across the street here because that's a different subdivision. This is Venice Gardens. This is South Venice, all right, different. These are all on central water and sewer. This is on well and septic. Big difference, all right? But you can see here just by picking up the algorithms and pulling in some values, this comes up with a range, all right, an estimated range. And it says here, estimated range based on value ratio, all right, value ratio. And then here's the price per square foot. Now we use a price per square foot mainly in our business. So this property could be priced according to them as low as $61,000 and as high as $170,000. With the middle and the average being 133. Okay, so and again, that's with no justification. I can get those to stop coming up. You get tons of spam every day. When you get when you put your email out on the internet, it just really gets you. All right, so I would need to go through here and eliminate the ones that are over here. And so I could just look through the numbers. I got 1, 2, 3, and 5. So I got 1, 2, oh, it changes the whole numbers. Way to go. So now I got 3 and 17. It changes the number each time I click on it. That's not fair. All right, I see 10. All right, so I would come in here and adjust these numbers, all right, to make my thing much more suitable for what we're trying to accomplish. That way I can just compare against properties across the way. Okay? 14 and 20. Now I guess it's 19. All right, so this is how you eliminate some of the properties, and I was just taking the ones out of a certain subdivision. Now also look at the comparison ratio. This is what's setting up your algorithm. It's saying the lots that are at least 50% equal or greater or less value. Square footage, 20% greater or less value. Within a mile in the range and have this sell in the last year. That's it. That's all the criteria that it has. So you can add more criteria. So you can update the criteria if you want to. Like if you wanted to take ignore year built, you could put built within 5 years. You could put built within 10 years, and that could eliminate some additional ones. All right. But even so, oh no, it went through and it put the ones back in that I just did. So you can adjust those kind of things like we did to come up with a better ratio for this particular method of figuring out what IMAP is kind of telling you the value of the property is. All right, so I'm just doing this one more time real quick, and we'll just see if we can get it done pretty easily here. So you can see that the program is finicky. So you have to make sure that you have your search part set up before changing your criteria, or you'll end up having to do what I'm doing, and that's do it again. But you know, you do what you need to do for your customers these days. All right, so now I've got it down to just our side of the area. Hopefully, and the price though didn't really change much. Okay, we're still at the same price per square foot. Based on that, I can print this out. I can print this page out. I can print the report out if I wanted to. All right. So that's one way of coming up with some value. All right. Another way is coming back here. I have the tax record. Let me just go back to the property tax and not look at my comparables. All right. So I have my tax record. I'm going to come back here. Now I'm going to do a search. All right. I'm going to do a quick search around the property. I go to my map first and type that in. All right. So I think the address of the property is, I'm a cut and paste kind of person, so I do a lot of cut and pasting. All right. So I'm jumping there to the map. Oops, it took me to the wrong one. Unless you guys want to go to this date. There we go. All right, so now we've gotten down here to Glen Oak. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so I can. So now what I'm going to do is I know what the area of the neighborhood is. So I'm going to go ahead and do the neighborhood. All right. And in this neighborhood, there's also some duplexes and condos and things like that. So I'm going to definitely need to really make sure that I eliminate those. All right, so first I take off the community. So this is the whole community here. So I've got that off. And now I'm going to come back to my criteria. All right, I'm going to go look at all my actives. I'm going to look at my actives with contract. I'm going to look at my pendings. I'm going to start off with a half a year. If I don't have enough information, then I'm going to do that. If I really want to, I can look at expireds as well, because expireds will tell you a story. These are the properties that were priced at this level that did not sell. So if I didn't have more real comps to work with, I would pick up expireds to show what not to do, okay? But there's only been a couple expireds. All right, so now we got 85 properties. I haven't put any criteria in so far at all. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to put in a square footage. And actually, I need to, before I do that, let's limit it down to the single family type of home. All right. So here's a single family home. And let's, when we add that, that should take down a few. Okay, I only picked up one of the condos. Excellent. All right. So I still have a few too many properties, but one thing that'll really do me is my square footage. All right, because square footage plays a big role in the value of the property. So I got 961 square feet, okay? So I want to go probably about 10 to 15% above that, all right? And I do know on this particular listing, I don't have it up here in the moment, we went higher than the tax record in square footage because there's a room that we don't believe that was included, which was this patio, I'm sorry, enclosed room here, but I don't think they put it in the square footage of the home because we measured the outside of the home. So I'm going to go a little bit larger, all right, than 961, and I'm getting that number right here, okay? So 961, so I'm coming to my square footage, because like if it has 3 bedrooms and it's 961 versus 2 bedrooms with 961, those are going to have similar values. All right, so I'm going to start on my low end. So I'm going to go down to like 900. I don't want anything really below that. And then I'm going to go up to like 1200 and see what we come up with. All right, so now I've narrowed it down to like 17. All right, I'm going to bump it up just a little bit because I want to look at more than just 17. So I'm going to take it up to like 1,300 square feet, see what that does. All right, that took me up to 28. That's a pretty good number. Now I'm looking at 28, and so active sold. So now I'm going to go ahead and look at my results. And now my job is, I've went out and I've looked, you know, I have some idea of what this property looks like. All right, I've done, maybe I did a drive-by and I looked at the outside, okay, because my job is to determine the value. Okay, but just going off statistics, I can see here are all my actives. So when I look at my actives, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 actives. All right, when I look at my 5 actives, and I can see here, I have to eliminate this one on Glen Oak because there's only it's the lowest one, and that's the one I'm trying to figure out the value. All right, so that explains why that one gets shown an awful lot. But then you look down here, and you have some things that have sold in the 125 range, 126 range, 144 range, but you can see nothing really a lot below the 144 except about 3 properties. So I'm just kind of getting a good overview. So now what I want to do is, I know, and I'm just pulling Glen Oak up, all right, just so that you put some eyeballs on it. It's got a new bathroom cabinet in here. It's got a new kitchen, and let's see if we can get in there and take a peek at that. Here's the new kitchen, all right, so it's got, you know, some granite countertops and cherry cabinets, all right, it's been freshly painted. It's a cute little house, all right, so knowing that, when I go to start looking at the next properties, all right, I'm going to thumb through here. This is what we're competing with, all right, so I'm going to go through and go, oh, those are some pretty nice floors, all right. Now you can see the kitchen hasn't been updated here. It does have a smooth top stove, but I don't think, that might be Corian. I'm not quite sure. All right, but it's not nearly as nice as the kitchen that we have. All right. Floors look good. It's got some drapes. Bathroom looks to be in decent shape. All right, so it's got like a patio area, carport. That's a great comp. So I'm going to go ahead and check that one. All right, because I think that's a good comparable. Here's another one. The square footage is right. It's active. Kitchen could be updated, right? But not bad. Looks like it's got some newer appliances in it. Big open plan. I thought maybe it looked at water. It was just a reflection in the window. All right, so it's got some, it's okay. It's not too bad of a house.
Gina, may I ask you something?
Huh?
Just a quick question, if I could.
Sure.
It seems like you know a lot about the property itself already. So do you have to go and view the property first before you can come up with a CMA?
You don't have to, because you're going to come up with a range,
Oh,
okay?
okay.
And all right, so let's say, all right, so let's say I don't know that the property is nice, okay, and that it's been rehabbed. So when I'm thinking about the average value, I'm thinking about the average home that's not been updated. So once I get there, I'm going to sway to my numbers. Going to have a range. I'm going to have a high range. I'm going to have a low range. I'm going to have a medium range, because pricing something isn't absolute. It's about pricing it to where the market is going to get the most amount of traction for that
Okay.
property. Great question, though.
Thank you.
I just wanted to show you, everybody, that this one has some nicer things in it, and that's why our opinion is going to change, because once you get to the property, your opinion of it could change. I'll give you an example. Whitney and I just went out on an appointment on Friday, and you know, it was an older unit, and it potentially needed some updating, but it was so clean, and it was so taken care of, that even though it had some older items in it, they were very functional and very clean and did not really impact the value of the unit so much. But you know, when we were looking at it on paper, we were like, oh, well, we got to discount this because it's not been, you know, rehabbed yet or brought up to date. But it was so clean that it warranted more respect than price. All right, so I have another property here, 184, that's active, that's going to kind of compete with that. I'm going to pick that one. All right, and I could thumb through it again and just see what kind of updates. Looks like they went. It's got some new kitchen in it. This is what's called the Formica kitchen. I'm sorry, this is what's called a tiled kitchen. A lot of people put those over the top of Formica to update them. Just thumbing through the pictures again. So you want to look at the things. These are my competition. I'm getting a good idea of what my competition is. Now here's one for $238,000. Now I know my property is probably not $238,000. At least I don't think so. So one of the things I need to come in here and find out is why. Oh, looky here, they're on the lake. All right, my property's not on the lake. All right, so if I were to pick this property, I would have to, looks like it's got a brand new kitchen in it as well. And again, I can read some of the descriptions to also help figure out if this is a good comp for me. At this juncture, I'm going to say no, it's not a good comp for me. All right, so we're going to skip this one. We're not really going to be in competition with this one. But I know we're not going to be able to reach up in the $238,000 range. All right, so here's an active with contract. So this is what someone's money could have bought down the street in the community. So just another, again, another quick look. Looks like a very clean home, but that hasn't been really updated. All right, and they had it listed 169. Looks like that's pretty good. 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, and there we go. We can use that one as a comp as well. So I'm going to go over here to the single view for a second. All right, so you can see so far I've just gone through the actives. The solds aren't going to be as challenging as the actives are, because we're just really looking at information of those. So let's check this one on Briarwood. And again, I don't have to look in such much detail. The square footage, a couple pictures here. They got granite in here. So this one's been updated. All right, and it's under contract. They were asking 169. That's a pretty good comp as well. All right, so now I'm getting into the solds. So when I'm looking at my solds, I really want to think about my tax record and what my property looks like. I can see this one's got a 2-car garage. I know that mine doesn't have a garage. All right, but I'm going to go ahead and check this one anyway, because I'm going to show you what we're going to do. We're going to change the price on this one. All right, this one's a 1-car. I can see here it was listed for 125. These So this could be a pretty good comp. This could, you know, be on the lower end of things. It looks like it hasn't really been cleaned up too much, other than, well, maybe a little bit. Their choice of coloring was poor. So we'll go ahead and use it as a comp. It's on the low end, but we'll go ahead and grab it. So we got a few more to get through here. This looks like a creative jungle. Heavily landscaped, fairly nice, clean, kept home. Not quite updated, but it's in the right price range in the age of home. So I'm going to go ahead and keep it. Now this one looks kind of run down, and this looks like a bank REO. All right, so I'm not going to use this as a comp because of them probably trying to blow it out. I don't believe they've repaired it much. Well, it doesn't show too bad, okay? But I believe someone probably really highly discounted it. Look at there, someone got it for $126. So I'm going to pass on that one as a comp for my house that's already been rehabbed. Boy, this sure looks like a nice house. Carport here, 144 sold. Sold in one day. That's a pretty good comp. I can take a quick peek. Very nice. Very big. All right, so I have a little bit more square footage there. So I'm going to jump back over here to my my master list real quick, and I just want to look down here at some of these other homes that are in the higher price range. I know I'm not going to creep over 200,000, and I'm looking over here to see if any of them have pools that I could eliminate. This one has a pool. I just, you know, here's one on Glen Oak itself. I'm going to go ahead and pick that one. This one right here as well. This looks like a good comp over here. Believe it or not, I believe the house might be Gary Evans' house. That's the one he just bought. So there's a couple more on Glen Oak. Those are on direct competition. All right, so I've got enough comps here. I probably don't really need to go much higher in price point. This one has a private pool. When I'm getting in here, these are getting into some bigger houses. I can look also at the tax record and determine, but I got enough comps to figure out what my value is probably going to be based on the price per square foot. All right, so the next thing I want to do is refine this down to the properties that I have. So I need to click on my refine button, and I need to view the ones that I have selected. So I'm going to click on this, and that's going to eliminate all the other comps. Now, normally you should narrow this all the way down to 3 to 4 actives and 3 to 4 solds. All right, you can have a couple 3 or 4 pending in theirs as well. But you typically want to narrow things down. Look at this property right here on Clover. Let's take one more look at that one because it just seems so far out of whack for the price. Yeah, this one was the one that I said it looked like it needed a lot of work. But I'm gonna go ahead and leave it in there, and we'll just take. Don't worry about it. All right, so there's one thing that we can do. We click back on the action button. We can do something that's called a quick CMA. All right, so I'm going to just show you what the quick CMA is because that'll also help you determine what your value is that you're looking at. So my quick CMA compiles the information, and it breaks everything down by price per square foot. All right, so this is to break out your calculators here. All right, if you can break out a calculator, just that way we participate together, and I don't need to pull out my calculator. So our property, right? Our property is 961 square feet. So if I take right here under active properties, and I take the average value of price per square foot, so we'll multiply 148 times 961.
Looks like 142, 228.
Yeah, so 142?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So 142 would be my average price of what this property would sell for and compete with the 3 properties in the neighborhood that compete with it. So what would my maximum value be if I went at 151 to compete with these guys? What was that times my 961 square footage?
$145,111.
All right, so 145, 111. So, and we can always round up, so 145. So here is, this tells us the accumulated days on market. I'm sorry, the C1 is accumulated days on market, and this counts as days on market. If we're looking at average days on market, 90 days being 3 months, over 3 months on the market. 120 days would be 4 months. So it takes, in this neighborhood, these 4 active properties almost 4 months, and they still haven't sold.
Yeah. Yeah, go get it.
Yeah, so you can see that they're a little bit overpriced. But listen, there's only 3, so is there a lot of competition? Not really. Not really. Now, here is my actives with contract. Okay, we already know where we're at when we're at the average of 143, because someone just mentioned that. So these are below. You'll notice these are a little lower. So these kind of, you can see when these go lower. Let's take this average right here of 137 and multiply it times 961. Someone give me that answer.
$131,657.
So 131. So if I were to sell with these 3 property or these 2 property, I could be at 131. So 131 could still be a good number. Okay. So now let's go down here and look at our solds. All right. Now our solds are going to play a big role, and I just want you to keep in mind. Look at this price, the price per square foot up here, 108, and then look at this one right here, 166. But now we're going to come over here. This stands for sold price per square foot. This stands for listing price per square foot. When I look at my sold price per square foot, I got one down here around 100, right? There's 133, 117, 137, 123, 159, 144, 142. So when you look at that, can you see the differentiation from this one to this one? And so if I really wanted to eliminate, this is really an oddball property, and I would really take it out of my equation, because it's not even close to what my other ones look like. All right, but it's going to skew my number a little bit. But let's look down here anyway. Look at my price. My maximum price per square foot is 166 on the market, and for the sold price, we got 159. So let's do 159. So I'm going to do 159 times 961.
152,799.
So 152,799. So that would, if I had a very clean property, was renovated, I could probably go for the top of the line, right? For 152. All right. Look at what my average is down here, 132. Now let's do 132.
$126,852.
126. All right. So I could fall as far as I could fall pretty far. So if I could go with this, and I would have a nice range. I would say, listen, top of the line 154 is what we're going to be able to sell the property for, but it could sell as low as 126. Okay? It could sell as low as 126. So I could give them that kind of range. All right? If I come back here, let me go ahead and close that out. So I would print this and put this in my file, right? But I want to eliminate that one property already first, because I told you it's really kind of skewing the number off for everybody. this one right here, right? I think that was the one. And then I can take that one that was a pretty big sale. Let's just eliminate that. Come back here and go back to my refine. And now if I jump back over here to my action and I look at my quick CMA again, all right, so when I come back down here, I made that little adjustment. We only bumped up the price a little bit. All right, so we only bumped up the bottom of the price a little bit. I'm still good with those comps. I'm going to go with that. So, I mean, on the low end, we're looking at 126. On the high end, 154. So, again, like I said, I could print this out as support. I just save that. And I just call that my quick, oops, I'm in the wrong. All right. So there's another CMA that you can do. All right. So I got 15 more minutes. Let me show you my next CMA you can do. This is what we could do to adjusting to each of the properties. All right. This is where you're going to maybe have already, excuse me, already looked at the property, and now you're going to do some adjusting because you know you've seen the property, you know what's in it, and you want to do a real clear CMA. All right. If maybe you haven't seen the property, but you still need to do adjustments, then you can do a nice fancy CMA this way. You click on the CMA button right here, and the first thing it's going to want you to do is put in a contact. Let's just put in a quick new contact. Oh, great. All right. So I'm in here, my contact. And you can see right here, it takes you over the top. So once I have the person's name in here, I just click on the next button. What pages? Well, I want the cover page, right? Damn. Pardon me for 1 second. All right, so the next, and by the way, if you don't know these pages, you got to get in here and get familiar. So I want a summary list. I'm not going to do a price adjustment list. I'm going to do a list, price, and chart. I'm going to do what's called the pro report and a price recommendation. And then I'm going to look at my stats. So these are some things that I can add to my report. So there's all kinds of little things that I can put in here. How does overpricing affect the price? You know, activity versus timing. And by the way, you have to look at some of these things. So I want the map. Yeah, I want the map, CMA map. All right, so I picked my pages. All right, so now I'm ready to go to my next step. And that's put in my subject property. Now I can input it in here. I can cross-reference the property with an MLS number. Well, I kind of know the MLS number, don't I? Let's see here. MLS information on the tax record. Yeah, so I got an MLS number here. Now if I didn't have the MLS number, I could fill it in. All right, but since I do, and it could be a past MLS number that you bring it in, I'm just going to fill the information in so I don't have to save us a little bit of time. So it brought all the information in. It even brought in a photo of the property previously. All right, so now I have the property information in. Here's the cover. what do I want to say to Mr. Keller? This is how I set up the cover. If I was going to do it manually, I can upload the photo, all right, manually. My comparables. Now it's going to ask me, it's going to go back to my latest search, and these are the comparables that I want to bring in here. So I'm going to go ahead and select all my comparables, all right. I could choose the eliminate a comparable. I can add additional listings to this. There's all kinds of things that you can do. And the class that you guys take will help you understand how to use this program. That's why I want you guys to use the class. Here's the map. It's going to lay out the properties that we're comparing to kind of show you the comparison and how they fit in the community. Then we're going to look here at our adjustments. All right. Now, we can adjust each individual property. All right. So I could come right here to this particular property, and I could say, here's Glen Oak, and here's this property, and it's got 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, and it's only got 1 bath. So I'm going to show you what adjustment you would make. Here's one that only has 1 bath. Okay, this one has 2 baths. So I'm going to take my comp, and I'm going to adjust the price down by $8,000. Now, you're probably saying, well, is that how much a bathroom is? In this neighborhood, that's how much a bathroom is. In other neighborhoods, the bathroom might be $10,000 or $12,000. So you got to get familiar to justifying the value based on the community that it's in. So you're going to have to look and determine and kind of be a little bit familiar with the marketplace a little bit. But bathrooms are anywhere typically $8,000 on the low end to like 10 to 12 to 15,000 on the higher end. All right. Bedrooms. Bedrooms might not warrant a square footage adjustment if you've already adjusted for the square footage size. And you can see right here. Here's our size, and here's the size is the property. And remember, I told you the owner gave us a different size. So this is going to change our numbers a little bit. All right. Because we're showing that the house is a little bit bigger. All right, so here's another one. And if we're going to adjust one property, we need to adjust them all, okay? All right, we need to adjust them all. So I'm just checking to see if there's any pool here. They just wrote community. We don't have a pool. So I'm going to go through and adjust this again. Now this one has a pool. This says a private pool. Now, I'm not sure what kind of pool it has, but I tell you what, just for the pool alone, I'm going to go ahead and give it a $10,000 adjustment down. All right, and I'm doing the $8,000 on the bedroom. So you can see that's a huge adjustment on the property right there. Here's another one. We're going to do this one. Adjusting this down. Age of the home is fine. Again, here's the bedroom. So you're probably asking, do you have to go through and adjust every comp? Yes, you do. If you want an accurate report, you do. But remember, if you're going on a listing appointment or you're doing a CMA, it's because somebody's trusting you to help them value their property. That's a very, very important job. I mean, this particular thing right here could cost you. This could cost you a listing by not having a good CMA and being accurate with your pricing. Okay. Cost you a sale. If you're working with a buyer trying to figure out what the value might be. Hopefully I didn't add $8,000 each time. Almost did on that one. All right, we're almost there. I think this is the finish line, the next one. All right. And no changes for that one. All right, so I've made my adjusting, okay? So I'm going to click here on my pricing. So it's already given me my table, okay? It's already given me my table. It's giving me a low of 125. It's giving me a medium of 159 and giving me a high of medium, and an average of 159, and a high is as high as 193, okay, and 185, and that's the adjustment in that square footage. All right, so I can make some additional notes. Here's where I come in here and I write what I think the property should sell for, okay? We said 126,000. All right. All right. So I'm giving them a range, and that's how I would price this out in my CMA. If I had some special notes, I might want to say, like, hey, you know, there was no comps in the area. I had to go outside the neighborhood here. This is where I would add some notes to identify what I was doing with my thing. Then I could come here and I could hit my finish. All right, and then I can preview this and I can save it. So let's take a quick preview of it, because if the pages aren't right the way that I want them, then I want to make those adjustments right now. So here's my CMA. I guess I need to upload a picture of myself, okay? So I definitely see, so by checking this out, it looks up. But this is 19 pages. All right, I'm just going to blow it up, and we'll look at half a page at a time here for a second. And then here are my comps. You can see it shows all my active comps, days on market. All right. I can also show right here, here are my active with contract listings. I can see what they're priced at. I can see what my pending property is. That's that $193,000 one. And then I have my sold price are sold right here, and that brings us down to our comparable numbers. Okay, we'll come down to our next page. And so now you can see the pricing graph. So we put in a pricing graph. And then a little description of each of the property. This is the CMA Pro, all right, that I clicked on. And that's one of the reasons why I like it, is it gets you the price, gives you a picture of the property, a description of the property, and just some information. So you can kind of, when you're talking with them, you can, you know, go over some of these comparisons with their property with them in person. So once we get past that part, so here's, again, a part of the CMA Pro. It's just kind of showing you that you have 3 active listings, and then it has 3 active with contract listings, and then you have 1 pending listing. So it's bringing some graph elements to things. And then here you go. These are your 7 sold properties. All right, so they're showing them where they are on the price point scale. And so this kind of gives you an idea visually on how the properties were priced. Does it make sense based on my comps that I picked that someone would want to price something at $200,000? No. It makes sense that the top's going to be right there at that 159 mark. All right, and we said nothing's probably going to go below 120. And so, I mean, if we're somewhere here, then we're going to probably be hitting this dead on. This goes through again, giving you what we looked at, our actives, average price per square foot for our actives, with our contract pendings, our and then our solds. And then it breaks that data down a little bit further, actives, you know, and brings them all into one complete summary report here for them. So I kind of like this. Here's my price recommendation. And then here, like, this is thrown in and be kind of nice. Where a buyer's coming from, this kind of goes in line with my listing presentation. All right. And so we're going to have that in there. And this just talks about, you know, weeks on market, when's your highest time that you're going to make your most amount of money and have the biggest impact. Again, here's the map of what their comps were. All right. So here's the real kicker. I just sold this property. We just put it under contract as of last week, and it sold. We settled for $142,000 on the property. So that's what we're currently under contract for. I got to mark it active with contract because we got over some hurdles on Friday. So I'm going to stick around and answer some questions, but I